So how do the governments, for example, measure their economic success? They talk about GDP. What exactly is GDP? GDP is just the same thing. How many more goods, transaction-worthy goods, is your economy producing? It's another thing that what GDP successfully hides is a lot of inequality. Average income of the most disadvantaged section has not risen by much over the last 30 years, whereas the top 1 percentile has gotten richer by more than 15 times. And it is the GDP focused approach, it is the material happiness focused approach that is at the root. We have been conditioned, we have been taught a wrong philosophy, and that's the problem. Philosophy of material happiness is at the root of all of them, and therefore you cannot solve any single one of these problems without really addressing our very basic philosophy of life. You see, what is the philosophy that we are living in our daily lives? We are saying more is better. We are saying if you want to be happy, you need to have more goods, you need to have better furniture, bigger cars, you need to fly more. How about $500 million yacht? Things like that. So that's the philosophy that we live. Not only the common man, from the common man, that philosophy becomes the philosophy of the governments. So how do the governments, for example, measure their economic success? They talk about GDP. What exactly is GDP? GDP is just the same thing. How many more goods, transaction-worthy goods, is your economy producing? Now, basic things that make life richer are not really amenable to monetization. Because you cannot monetize them, therefore they do not even count towards the GDP, right? And it is the GDP focused approach, it is the material happiness focused approach that is at the root of the climate crisis. We keep on saying the country is producing more and more, or my income is getting higher and higher, therefore there is welfare. It's another thing that what GDP successfully hides is a lot of inequality. We said the top rung of people, the very elite in terms of money, 1 percentile, top 1 percentile or 5 percentile, they are the ones contributing in the heaviest sense to this crisis. But they are also the role models and aspirations for the remaining 95%. We all want to be there, and that's a philosophy that has been taught to us. The climate crisis is a product of a wrong way of living. We have been conditioned, we have been taught a wrong philosophy, and that's the problem. And the problem is deeper, because your generation sees no alternative except that one philosophy, because it has not been exposed to anything else. The work that we are trying to do of taking Vedanta to every household is therefore something that is striking at the very roots of the climate crisis. And all these are related. Veganism, climate crisis, loss of biodiversity, extinction of species, you name the problem, and what you'll find is that the same philosophy, philosophy of material happiness, is at the root of all of them. And therefore you cannot solve any single one of these problems without really addressing all others. And if you have addressed all of them, and all of them are intersectional, they all touch upon each other, then you have to go to the very base. Is more really better? Are we benefiting from that? When you say GDP is great, and for example Moody's just said India is not going to grow at 7.6%, it's going to be 6.8%. And there was a lot of hue and cry, oh my god, country is not growing that much. The fact is that the average income of the most disadvantaged section has not risen by much over the last 30 years, even in India, whereas the top 1 percentile has gotten richer by more than 15 times. Inflation adjusted figures.
Wow.
So what is GDP doing? It is taking an aggregate. It is presenting to you an average in terms of per capita income. What it is hiding is that what averages successfully managed to hide, that the averages have been pulled up only by a handful of people, and the vast majority of people is actually remaining at the same levels where it was a long time back, or actually the levels have fallen. That's what GDP is hiding. So it's not even that we are getting even materially more prosperous. First thing is material prosperity giving us what we really need? What are the costs of material prosperity? Secondly, are we getting even materially more prosperous as a human community? No. Only a handful of people are gaining in wealth. All else are just wallowing in their old positions. So we need to take up this discussion with the young people especially. How do you want to live? What do you want to live for? What is your core philosophy of life? As we used to say in IIT, funda kya hai tera? Huh? What's the fundamental you want to live by?
So I have a doubt here. Like we all started from a point जब हम early man थे, cages में रहते थे. Then we started technological advances. Develop होके हमने इतनी सारी चीज़ें बनाई just to live a life जो कि बहुत peaceful हो. Now when we have these things, we are saying that हमें minimalism की तरफ जाना चाहिए. तो फिर there are two options. या तो हम ऐसे technologies develop करें, for example the solar panels ones, जिसमें कि जो भी चीज़ें रिलीज़ हो रही है एनवायरनमेंट में वो हमारे ज़्यादा हार्म ना पहुँचाए, या फिर वी लिटरली लाइक गो टू अ पॉइंट जहाँ पे हम चीज़ों को फिर डिस्कार्ड करना शुरू करते हैं. वी गो बैक टू द सेम लाइफ वेयर बहुत ज़्यादा मिनिमलिज्म है. सो व्हाट शुड बी द अप्रोच?
We need active economic degrowth. We do not need so much of consumption. What was the consumption for in the first place? Why did the early man come out of the forest, out of the cave? For what purpose? You must remember the purpose. The purpose was not that he was not getting enough to eat there. No animal ever starves in the jungle unless man interferes. Right?
Yeah.
You don't really have pandemics in the jungle. Again, unless man interferes. So jungles are actually quite nice places, and man was all right there in the physical sense at least, right? We do not die of hunger, heat, food, thirst, starvation. That does not happen usually in the jungle. And if that happens, to that extent it happens even in the cities, right? We have people dying of starvation on footpaths. That happens even in the US. Even the US have people who are ill-fed, right? Why did we come out from the jungle in the first place? Because there was something that could not happen in the jungle. There were conditions not really suitable to that particular thing. What was that thing? We wanted to develop ourselves more. We wanted to have more peace, as you said. Huh? Did we really get that by coming out of the jungle? Or have we failed miserably? The intention itself has been defeated. When we were there and now that we are here, are we really better off in terms of the intangible thing that we wanted? Tangibly, we have gathered a lot.
Yeah.
Tangibly, obviously, we have gathered a lot. But that intangible thing that we were so desperate for, I dare say, so much in love with, could we manage to secure that? No, we didn't. So not only do we need to minimalize, we actually need degrowth. A lot of things that we are using, we do not need them. They have to be discarded. A lot of the industries are simply wasteful. They do not need to exist. The world, do we really need huge military complexes? Do we really need these huge slaughterhouses, animal agriculture he talked of? Do you really need those industries? Huh? A lot of the cosmetics industry, for example, are these things actively needed? You have to ask yourself these things. Textiles, garments. Do we really need so many clothes as we use? Huh? And there is just so much, The carbon emissions of the US military are larger than that of several other nations combined. I'm not talking of the emissions of the militaries of the other nations. I'm saying you pick up the Scandinavian nations, for example. The emissions of the entire country are lower than the emissions from the Pentagon. What's going on? Do we really need all those things? Do we really need to fly as much as we do? In a country like India, how do you justify flying from Delhi to Chandigarh? Or from Delhi to Jaipur? I do not know whether we have flights from Mumbai to Pune.
We do.
We do, I think.
And to Surat as well, and many other places in Gujarat.
I'm not sure. And if poor road infrastructure is the reason, we better ramp up that infrastructure. The kind of carbon footprint when you fly is tremendous. So I liked it. We traveled to Bombay via train this time. We had a camp in Goa. We again used the train. Once the flight and then the train. Obviously, it's not all that convenient. But that's the minimum you need to begin to do. And that's just the minimum. That won't suffice. There is a lot more that we actually require to do.